It's a tale of two cougars, and only one of them gets shot. It's also a tale where the metaphor sticks out like a sore thumb, perhaps unintentionally. After the beautiful opening shot of Virginia City that we've come to know and love, the stage arrives carrying an English couple who are disappointed to find that Ben is not there to wait for them. The wife is a bit naggy already and insists that they don't stand out in the street like this. They ask the driver to take care of their bags and they head for the hotel lobby. And then we learn why having your hotel attached to the saloon by a large doorway is a bad idea if you want to make a good impression, because a scraggly fat man who was just having a drink at the bar hears their accents and comes over to harass them. He inserts himself into their business by making fun of the man's name, Marion. Marion handles it respectfully by informing him that, spelled his way, it's been a man's name in England for years. The man making fun of him is named Belcher because, of course it is. Do I even have to address the irony of making fun of someone else's name here? Also, the cliche, this ain't wherever you're from line is cliche and somethingist. Point is, he's causing conflict for the sake of conflict and escalates it by raising a hand to Marion when our hero Adam arrives and quickly takes care of things. The lady might as well be purring when she looks at Adam after that. The visitors are Lord and Lady Marion and Beatrice Dunsford. When we get back to the ranch, we find out that Ben has known Marion for years, ever since they met in Louisiana during Marion's first trip to the States. Whether that's before or after Ben met Marie is never specified, but it does seem to be before Marion met Beatrice, or as Marion might call it, the good old days. Speaking of days gone by, at home Joe is intrigued by tales of his father's wilder youth, like maybe he thinks that's where he got it from. This won't be the last time an old friend of Ben's tells his sons about his oat sowing. Joe and Hoss excuse themselves from the gathering for the evening in very different ways, as Joe kisses the lady's hand, of course he does, while Hoss calls her a filly. Of course he does. Adam speaks up to let her know that that was a compliment. The grand lady pushes the issue of her husband doing some hunting while they're visiting the Ponderosa, even after he tries to decline twice. She brags on him being the greatest hunter in England, and he's visibly uncomfortable by the assertion. Ben doesn't seem to take the hint any better. Beatrice takes this opportunity to ask Adam to go with her outside for some air while the old friends continue to visit. Nothing suspicious about that, no siree. She complains to Adam, a total stranger, about her husband for a good 5 minutes or so before pouncing on him like a, Ben and Marion step outside just in time to get the wrong idea, and Ben spits out the most savage line of the episode. He says that he's just convinced Lord Dunsford to do some shooting while he's their guest. Excuse me, sir, but that's your son and your old friend's wife there. Try to take this a little seriously, will you? While you're quipping, Adam could get shot. In their room, Marion acts like nothing happened, until casually mentioning that he hopes he doesn't have to remind his wife to behave properly. Good grief. The following morning, Beatrice is dressed up ready to accompany the men on the hunt that Ben himself isn't even going to. Wait, so your old friend comes to visit all the way from England. You can't make it to meet him in town, so you send Adam. Then you talk him into going for a hunt he doesn't want to do, and you don't go to that, and you send Adam there too. And this is after you see his wife messing around with Adam. Are you tired of having 3 sons or what, dude? Is it because of that insanely black hair of his? That's it, isn't it? You're jealous. Seriously, if you have the DVDs, watch this episode and tell me that's not the darkest hair you've ever seen in your life. If the color black can be blinding, Adam's hair is blinding. Beatrice tells Adam that she's going before Marion even knows about it. He seems to hope that Marion will tell her no, but of course that doesn't happen. Purnell does this thing when Adam's annoyed with his face that is hard to describe, but it's very intimidating when you see it. And if you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. He explains to Marion the differences between how they do hunting in England and in the States by way of letting us know that it's just going to be them and Whitey, one of their hands. Whitey is a bit uncomfortable calling anyone Lord, and he cites religious reasons, so Adam tells him to just say, "Hey, you." That'll settle it. And if you were wondering what became of old Belcher, don't worry, he's still around. He comes up on an old man's cabin and asks for some tobacco. The old man offers to give it to him for free, even though he said he'd pay for it, and one of the renegade Paiutes he runs with shoots the man right in front of his little grandson, who's hiding by a wagon. One of the Paiutes tries to hide a bottle of what I assume is moonshine behind his back from Belcher, and it's just really cringe. So let's move on. At the camp, Beatrice flirts with Adam by asking him if he's ever shot an elephant or some other animals they don't have in the wilds of Nevada. Yeah, right about now, I bet he's wishing someone would come along and shoot him in the arm so we can go home. The little grandson of Kavanaugh, the old man that Belcher and his men killed, runs to the Ponderosa and Hoss finds him. Ben sends Hoss and Joe out after Adam and company, while the boy promptly goes off to never speak of this again land. No, really, we never hear another word about him. Does he have other family? Was he just visiting his grandpa? Did Ben keep him until other relatives could come get him? 'Cause they do that sometimes. None of that matters, though, because, hey, the intrepid explorers found themselves a big kitty just minding its own business. Adam aggravates him until he runs toward Lord Dunsford, who then freezes and is unable to take the shot. Since they riled the animal up, Adam has to take the shot, or the animal will kill Dunsford. I'm not a fan of this scene beyond saying that it works to show that Dunsford is unable to shoot. I guess it would have been considered murder to just let the cat eat Beatrice, huh? Or maybe it would have been cannibalism for one cougar to eat another? Answers in the comments. That night at the camp, Marion wants to talk about the incident. Beatrice tries to shut him down, but Adam puts on his therapist hat and lets Marion have a good share. Naturally, Beatrice thinks that this means she should get some one-on-one time with the therapist too, after everybody goes to bed. She wakes Adam up and tells him she's cold. When he goes to stoke the fire, she slips into his bedroll with him and steals his blanket before trying to cuddle up to him. Ew. Adam doesn't find it any more amusing than we do and tells her right off, making her sulk away in a huff. Before that, though, she calls him an honorable man, and he says that there are worse things to be. Then she calls him a backwards philosopher. Okay. She also calls her husband a coward. Something happened 5 years before that and made him no longer interested or able to hunt like he used to. They never go into anything specific about that. Following morning, Adam gets that shot in the arm in the form of an arrow that we were talking about. Belcher and his men are surrounding them and they kill Whitey. Poor guy. He seems like he got along with the family really well. In the end, his body is left behind and the others are taken to an area near a cave. #Justice for Whitey. Belcher has one woman among the Paiute band he travels with who does the cooking for him, and he gets his kicks by knocking her around. When he doesn't like what she cooks, he makes Beatrice heat up his meat for him. All she does differently is put some salt on it, warm it around the fire for a minute or two, then hands it to Belcher, who eats it with his bare hands. Lady B gets smart with him, and he throws the meat right at her rear end. If someone can make a gif of that moment, I will be eternally grateful. Also, the meat is not a metaphor that I know of, but do with it what you will. Hoss and Joe follow their trail. Meanwhile, Adam seems to be sinking into a bit of the old despair and doesn't seem to think they have any options. Beatrice has worked until her pampered little butt can't move much more, and Marion complains to her about her situation, but doesn't stand up for her. Adam gets some of his personality back just in time for Belcher to hit him right in the wound. Beatrice stands up to Belcher, at least more than her husband does. Belcher invites her to have a drink or two with him, and Marion stands up like he's going to protest, then backs right down. Beatrice plays Belcher for a bit while they share a cup or two of whatever's in that jug. Adam assumes Belcher has ransom on his mind, among other things, and waits for the right time to present terms to him. In the second cringy Paiute scene of the episode, because this is still season 1, they all get drunk and start fighting, so Belcher has to break them up. Adam figures this is a good time to talk to him and presents him with an offer of $10,000 and to keep him as a hostage. Marion wasn't previously aware that Adam meant to offer himself and starts to protest. Belcher says that keeping Adam will just get him in trouble with Ben. Yeah, good call. So his counter-agreement is to keep Beatrice and let the men go. Adam gets a moment alone with Beatrice to let her know that he's worried Marion might try to take Belcher. She's not worried about that herself, and because she thinks he's too afraid. Adam tells her off again and lets her know that he thinks she and Belcher deserve each other. And not that I'm taking this chick's side at all, believe me. But that being said, I'm not entirely sure what Adam thought she could do about it, besides maybe care a little. But I guess that's all he really wanted her to do. Hoss and Joe talk about how the two of them, along with Ben, hunted near that cave before and head the rest of the way on foot, certain that they found Belcher's hiding place. Belcher offers a knife fight in what passes for courtesy in his warped mind and leaves it there on the ground for Marion to pick up when he wants to. Marion tries civil negotiations again with him, and Belcher thinks that the definition of civil is to offer him a trade. Toma, the Paiute woman, for Beatrice. He was just going to kill Toma anyway. If it wasn't obvious enough, a woman is just another object to Belcher. He doesn't need two of them, so the solution is to either trade like a horse or kill one that he already had for the new one. Beatrice tries again to argue back, and Belcher tells her to do what she's told or he'll kill her. Marion asks Adam what he should do. Adam thinks he shouldn't try to take Belcher and offers to do it himself. Marion seems rather dismissive and says, I guess it's up to me, then. Hey, at least Adam offered to try. The man took an arrow in the armpit. Oh, and by the way, none of this would have happened if you two had stayed in England. I might be a little kinder toward him here if he even acted like Adam's injury is more than just an inconvenience to himself. Marion does try Belcher in the end, though, and when it looks like he might lose, Beatrice, to her credit, attacks Belcher, who then takes the knife and puts it to her throat. Marion grabs the rifle from one of the Paiutes and tosses it to Adam, who kills Belcher in probably the coolest move in the episode. Hoss and Joe show up just in time to keep the others from fighting back. Honestly, though, the Paiutes are such non-characters in this one that they probably would have just scattered after Belcher died. At home, Adam brings in some soup to Marion, who's feeling much more confident after standing up for himself, and Beatrice has found a new love for him. The two are all cutesy in bed, and I admit it got me until I remember that he had to risk his life for her to treat him like a person again. Adam surmises that the thing that changed was that there was a knife to her throat and she understood the meaning of fear. Yeah, I guess it could go either way. Okay, so I've always mostly enjoyed this one, and I really needed to ask myself why for this review. The answer, simply put, is Adam. He gets to do all the things in this episode. Everything that makes his fans love him. He gets to play the hero from the first scene he's in, and he gets to run his mouth. He's smarter and braver than anyone else in the room, not to mention that he looks dang fine doing it. He then concedes the spotlight to Marion graciously. Ben gets that little line in that we talked about earlier, and I do always laugh when I hear it. Joe's concern for his family always shines through just in the way that Michael Landon delivers his lines, while he and Hoss are looking for Adam and the others. Hoss being Hoss in that dinner scene is adorable. Other than that, Hoss and Joe have very little to do this episode. As far as plot, I like the idea of Marion learning what true courage is, but I do sort of wish we'd explored the reason for his fear the last 5 years. He says that he's not afraid of dying. His anxiety just kicks in and he freezes. That's a valid physical expression of anxiety. But they don't do any more with it. Beatrice is downright cruel to him for most of the episode and never really apologizes even after she feels fear herself. She never has to deal with any consequences for her cruelty. Against my better judgment, though, I do feel sorry for her when Belcher abuses her. And I do feel a bit of pride for her when she stands up for herself. That doesn't negate the fact that she's a crappy person for most of the episode. Hazel Court does a great job with the role. There's a cute story during filming involving her. Purnell found out that it was her birthday and he had a cake brought in with the Ponderosa map on it. Edward Ashley plays Marion as an English gentleman who doesn't strike me as the type to have enjoyed hunting ever, honestly. Again, they could have explored that more. He's believable in the role and I'm rooting for him. It sounds to me like maybe it was the hunting that attracted Beatrice to him in the first place, and that hosts its own set of problems if we look into it too deeply. She calls it beautiful when Adam takes down the cougar. Adam's response of, "You call that kind of killing beautiful?" is interesting. If he's saying it isn't beautiful, I would agree with that moral stance. Then again, they weren't hunting that specific animal for a threat to their ranch the way they do in other episodes. They literally have to find this cat and spook it into coming into their line of fire. Adam even says that he'll run when he spots Adam, not that he'll attack Adam. He'll run away. This animal was no threat to them until after they got in his way. Your mileage may vary as to what that sounds like to you. Either it says that she's creepy for being so turned on by that sort of thing, or at least she's honest about it, whereas the men don't act like they enjoy it, but they do anyway for no other reason than for sport. Ken Mayer is always fun to have as a guest star, and Whitey is funny. I'm genuinely sad when he dies. Bert Freed totally sells it for me as Belcher. He's fat and dirty and rude. As Adam says, he's a typical bully boy. Again, he seems to think he's being civil when he offers Marion the knife fight and then to trade the women. He sees nothing wrong with the way he lives his life. He even says that what he steals is his. What the Paiutes following him steal is his. There's something to be said about how this episode treats the Paiutes. I'll mention here that I'm not entirely sure they're Paiutes, but I'm calling them that to avoid the term they use in the episode, which is simply renegade Indians. This show has some outdated terms at times because it's from the 60s, but that doesn't mean we need to use them now, or even that we need to shun them for what they knew at the time. That's a broader conversation that I might have in a future video. I still cringe when any Native American characters are used as mindless background like they are here. The way these braves behave and even how Adam describes them just adds to the problem. Finding out how Belcher came to be their leader would have helped a little maybe, but we got nothing. Kavanaugh's grandson is played by an actor named Jimmy Carter, but it's not the former president of the United States. I'm interested to hear if any non-Adam gals like this one. At the very least, there is a moral to it. Leave large animals alone when they're minding their own business, and be careful who you take with you on long trips in the wilderness.